Thanks for talking to us, Kat. It's really lovely to put a face to the mum. Yeah. How are you feeling?
Oh my goodness, I can't even answer that. I'm overwhelmed. I don't know, I'm like in survival mode every minute of every day. It's, you know, you go to sleep at night and you wake up in the morning and everything, you forget for those first few moments in the morning, and then you remember. And it's like a waking nightmare every single day, and it just never stops. It's never ending.
Yeah.
I just want them to come back. They need to be home. They don't belong out there.
Yeah, it's rough out there. We've just seen a video this week of possibly the 3 kids and Tom. When you saw that video, were you convinced it was them?
Yes, I was. I was convinced. It's not close up or anything. It's not very long, what I've seen, but that's them.
You recognised your children?
They're all there. There's 3 of them. They're walking. They're carrying their own gear on their back. They're there. It's the first sign in nearly 3 years. It was good. It was really good. It's the best news that anybody could hope for.
Yeah. Had there been times that you had wondered if they weren't alive?
I always hoped that I would know something, I would feel something. I don't think so. Like, you always hope for the best. You have your doubts. You do wonder. You're unsure. There's no evidence. You know, nobody's actually saying anything. There are a lot of people saying things, but, you know, do they actually know? They're just surmising. They're just talking. And
I guess in those really cold months of winter, though, you must have worried about Ember, who has asthma. And all of them, they're little.
Oh, all the time. Like, sometimes I'm freezing at home and all I think about is them out there. Like, if I'm cold in a house and I have heating and, you know, unlimited blankets and clothing and stuff, how are they managing out there? And in wet conditions, the first time they disappeared, they came back, and because it was horrendously wet, then I remember that there was like a massive storm right up the country, and they came back because all their stuff was rotten and mouldy. I mean, their rice apparently was mouldy. That speaks volumes in itself. How can most rice go mouldy? You know, like, it must have been. And they'd lost so much weight. That's what I don't get. 3 weeks and they'd lost a phenomenal amount of weight. Their clothes were falling off them. Like, I can't even actually imagine what they had endured in those 3 weeks, let alone what they've endured over these nearly 3 years. Like, it's just wrong on so many levels.
This last sighting, when did you and how did you find out about it?
Police sent me a text on Friday morning. It came into my phone at 10 a.m. I didn't actually read it until about 11 because I was at work and I don't actually keep my phone on me. And that's when I responded to the detective, and once I'd finished work, it was about 6 o'clock, and I rang him to see whether I should be driving home or whether I should be hanging around and waiting. But I hadn't heard anything. He did say go home, and I didn't hear anything again from him, even though I had texted again until I think it was 10 o'clock the next day after media had actually released the story. And that's when he got back to me. So I still didn't know anything from the police. I didn't know anything at all. I didn't know what the sighting was or what their procedures were, or what they were actually doing out there, whether they had been out there initially on Thursday straight away as soon as they got the call, or whether they only showed up on Friday morning when they messaged me. I don't know. I didn't know anything. And like I said, they weren't communicating with me.
Is that good enough? I mean, You know,
I
that
don't-
sighting was reported to them on Thursday. And you're the mum of these 3 missing children. The expectation, what is your expectation?
A lot more. I expected them to be home a long time ago. Like, how is any of this acceptable to anybody, let alone to the people that are supposedly there to, look after us, to care for us, to make sure that we're safe, that things are okay, to help us in our times of need. Like, there's a whole system there, and it's failed my children miserably from the get-go. I don't know, I don't have words for it. I struggle to understand. I don't get it.
You probably know more about rural New Zealand than most New Zealanders really, and the bush. When a group of pig hunters sights, 3 children and a man, and takes video of them and reports it to the police, what would you expect the response of police to have been? Instantaneous.
I expect them to have feet on the ground an hour after that phone call, because it takes an hour from Otahonga or Tikawiti to Marokopa. They're the closest, but I expect them there instantly. I expect a helicopter to be deployed straight away with heat-seeking equipment on it, sniffer dogs out there, while the trail is fresh. I mean, yes, there's a lot of land out there, but from what I can see in that video, that's not bush. They're not in the bush right there. They're crossing somebody's farmland from what I can see. Like, I haven't talked to anybody about it. I don't know 100%, but there would have been a trail. There would have been something. They should have been there.
What's it like for you waiting for the police to get moving?
It's actually disheartening. I put my faith in the system right from the start, like from the beginning. And the beginning wasn't just when the children disappeared the first time or the second time. The beginning started a long time ago. And I had faith in our system. And I feel like such a fool now. Like, it's failed my children. And that's what they're in place for. And it's like, I feel like they are being treated like they're irrelevant, like they're nobody and they don't matter. But they do. They're people. They're going to grow up. They shouldn't be in this situation or have to live like this. They deserve so much more.
What do you think they deserve? What should they be doing now in their lives?
Bare minimum. They deserve to be in society. They deserve to have friends. They deserve to have access to healthcare. They deserve to they deserve to do the little things like go to the park and have crappy McDonald's and, like, I don't know, go to the beach like a normal kid. Yeah, they're by the beach, but they don't get to go to the beach like normal children. They don't get to build a sandcastle or splash around in the waves, or like maybe they are fishing and stuff, but they're isolated. They're kept away from everybody, and it's just not right.
Do you worry about their mental health?
Every day.
In that story, and it was difficult, would have been difficult for you to read, but they talk about one of the children speaking to the pig hunters, asking if anyone knows where they're at. What do you make of that? What do you think? It was probably Jada. What do you think she was thinking or saying?
Is that a cry for help? Does anybody know that we're here? Is anybody coming for us? We didn't get to hear her speak. We just hear the words, or we read the words. We don't hear the tone of her voice. But to me, that's what I think. I think she's putting it out there, and she's asking a question that sorry, I just can't even put it into words. It's like, yeah, it's like she's trying to say something without actually saying something, because her father is right there, and she's worried about if she says the wrong thing and words it the wrong way, worried about later repercussions.
She's been strategic.
Yeah.
You must be really proud of her for the way she's behaving.
She's amazing. She's my beautiful big girl. Mm-hmm. She's so strong. And she'll be the mother. She'll be the mother now. She'll be there. She'll be looking after my other 2 babies. She'll be taking care of them. She'll be making sure that as much as she can, that she's protecting them and keeping them safe. And the only way that she can in this situation.
But so unfair for her. She's only 11.
Yeah, it's not right. She's grown up way too fast. She should still be being a child. She should be hanging out with her mates and, arguing about going to bed early and having to do homework and, not being allowed to go to someone's house, or small things, little things. She should be, I don't know, wandering around with her mates and seeing her cousins, and her aunties and her uncles and her grandparents, like the extended family, everybody.
How do you look after your heart?
I spend a lot of time pretending like it's not happening. I try and ignore it, and it's so hard. When people know, the first thing they always ask is there any news? Or there's some people that ask you, how are your babies? As if they're back, like I know. And it's just like, mate, if my babies were back, I wouldn't be here. I'd be with my babies. Yeah.
There's so much online trolling and abuse in all the comments when any stories run about Tom Phillips. And I guess that's why you have decided not to be visible and to speak to the media because of that. But what do you make of all of that? The Marokopa locals that support him say he's a great dad, he's in the bush, kids having a great time. What do you make of that?
I'm just dumbfounded. Like, these people, they don't know Thomas at all. Half of them have never met him. The other half don't know me. None of them have met the kids. They're all just saying things like, it's like they're all jumping on the most popular bandwagon or something. Like, there's no fact or reasoning to what they're saying. Like, how in anybody's mind is this okay in any manner, shape or form? Like, it's like, it's dumbfounding. And the things people say, yeah, I try to stay out of it. I have been quiet for so long. Like, I'm in that area too. I work there.
You've had people come up to you and talk about you, to you, haven't you?
Yes, I have. I've had people say to my face that they have met the mother and then proceed to run me down. And, like, I'm just gobsmacked. Like, it's like everybody just wants a little bit of fame or something. That's all it is to them. A little bit of 15 seconds or something. This is our life. This is the rest of my life for my babies. Like, they are forever going to suffer from what's happening right now. Like, that, I just have no words for it. My mind is blown. Nobody can comprehend. And you know what? I wouldn't wish this situation on anybody. Not even on my worst enemy. It's wrong. That's all it is.
What do you want those people to know about you and your babies?
I'm a good mum. I raised 2 amazing young women. They are an essence of me, of who I am. I showed them that. I taught them how to be, and that's what I had started with my little babies. And I would have continued on in that way too. My kids have always been my priority. They are who I am. And since they've been gone, I've lost my way. I'm not me. I'm lost. I am lost without them. They were my world, they were my everything, they were my reason for being. And that was my only job in life, was my children. And I feel like I've failed them miserably. I feel like I didn't fight hard enough. I didn't make enough noise. I don't know. I feel like it's my fault. I did this. I should have done more. Don't know.
Not sure if there's any more you could do. You had nothing to do with taking
I
the
really
bush.
tried. There's a whole system in place. Numerous people in positions of power that were put there to protect our most vulnerable. And while I could say and try and do things, the buck doesn't stop with me.
Mm. What do you want people to know about Tom Phillips?
Don't believe everything you read online. He was never good in the bush. He was not a bushman. Yes, I do believe now he will be quite good at it, but who wouldn't be after 3 years experience, or near to 3 years experience? But no, when we were together, we'd only ever gone proper camping once, as in, you know, no power, no running water. We were actually out on a lake and it was great. 10 days of, funnily enough, but isolated bliss, because it was us as a whānau unit, just us out hunting. It was great, it was awesome. Maverick was like, I think he might have been 3 months old at the time. We had Jada, Ember was not there yet, but had my 2 teenage girls. It was cool. I love that sort of thing. It is amazing and it's great. But like I said, Thomas wasn't that great at it. Yeah, we were, we were quite self-sufficient, all of us, you know, together as a family. Independent, you know. We like to live off the land, you know, have and do our own thing. That was our thing. We had a cow for milk. We had pigs, we had chooks, yeah, veggie garden, and that was our life. That's the way we lived and that's the way we liked it. So things were good. They did used to be good.
Last year, Tom was charged in relation to a bank robbery. He was charged with aggravated robbery, aggravated wounding, and unlawful possession of a firearm, and he had an accomplice. When you look at that photo, do you recognise that person?
The photo that I saw, I only saw one photo at that stage, and it was a bird's eye view. And that photo does not look, I did not think it was Thomas and Jada. But then if you look at the video from behind the library as they leave, totally different perspective. Completely different thoughts on that now. And it looks so much like them.
If that is the case, and it is them, and I think police are pretty convinced because they've charged him with aggravated robbery and wounding. I mean, the fact that he's put your 11-year-old in a position like that, how do you feel about that?
Actually, at that time, she was 9. She was 9 years old when that bank robbery happened. And I think it speaks volumes to his frame of mind and to the person he actually is truly. Because who does that sort of thing? Like, there's just no excuse. If he wanted to do something like that, he could have done that alone. Why did he have to involve one of the children? Why does he need an accomplice? Is that to share the blame? Is that to manipulate her, to make her feel guilty so that she'll never try to leave, never try to run away? Unless you've been with someone like Thomas, you can never truly understand how they work, the way they roll. It's like I can't explain it. I just don't have the words. I don't know how somebody could do like something like that. It's just beyond comprehension that anybody would allow their children to do that sort of thing. It's almost like, you know, the children that are doing ram raids that are so young. Like, it's sad and disappointing and heartbreaking. Like, her life's changed forever. She's got to carry that, and it must have been so scary for her. Like, to be put in that situation, to be expected to do something like that, which she would know is not right. Like, there will be part of her saying, this is not right, but, you know, what can she do? How can she get out of that situation?
Does it speak to you about the control that she must be under?
Oh, yes. Yeah. And just the manipulation. Yeah. And I can understand because I lived with him for years. Like I said, things were really good. We got on really well. We were a good couple, but there was just certain behaviour that I'd actually said, you know, no more. Enough is enough.
Like
this
what?
is not okay. The controlling. He didn't like me to go anywhere or do anything. He refused to let me put the children into daycare so that I could go out to work. And it's such a small thing, like, it's just a break. Like, raising children is 24/7. It is hard work. I had 3 under 3, 2 teenage girls, and a husband. Like, it's a lot of work, and it never stops. It is 24/7. I needed some time out. I was allowed to work when I was in the South Island, but I had to take Jada with me. So I was calf rearing and relief milking, but Jada was always in the truck up until she might have been about 6 months old or something. And then I was like, no, I can't do it. I can't do it anymore. She's getting too big, you know, it's just too much. Can't have her in the shed with me, you know, health and safety and all that sort of thing. But, you know.
So the family, you know, walked to his beat.
Yeah.
When the alleged bank robbery was happening, do you worry what was going on with Ember and Maverick?
Well, I had never actually made the connection with the bank robbery. You know, I just assumed, no, he's not that bad. You know, you just always think, no, it's not possible. No way. Not my family, not my husband, not my, you know, maybe ex-husband, we're not actually divorced yet, but, you know, like, surely, no, it's just not possible. And it wasn't until after he was charged with the robbery because of the Bunnings incident there, that's when I was like, oh my goodness. And that's when I seen the video, and then I was like, yep.
And how old would Ember and Maverick have been, and who might have been looking after them?
So they would have been, geez, I can't even think, 9, 10, she would have been 10. They must have been 7 and 8. Yes, and that's what I'd like to know too. Where were they? Who was looking after them? You know, every time he goes out and does something by himself, where are my babies? Who is making sure they're okay? If Jada's there, it'll be Jada. But, you know, if they're not there, if Jada's not there, they're a little bit older now, but, you know, anything could happen. Like, what if Thomas had crashed while he was out, or, you know, or who knows, anything. Like, what if he had been caught? Would he then have let people know where the children were to make sure that they're okay? Would he have said something then? I mean, you just never know what's going to happen. You can't just leave your kids alone, especially when you're like hours away from them.
You nearly caught him once.
Yeah, I did.
Tell us about that, because I don't think people know that was you.
People don't know. I was the one that seen him in Bunnings.
Walk me through it. You drove up and what?
I recognised him. He had his beanie on and his mask on, and he was sitting in that ute, and he'd backed it in, so he was facing out when I drove past, sorry. And it was just the way, I don't know if he'd just put his seatbelt on or taken it off, but it was just the way he put his head up. And because I just had a feeling about that ute, so I had my eye on that ute from the main road, like from Te Rapa Straight, driving into Bunnings. And I actually jumped on the brakes in front of him, and then my self-doubt kicked in. And I was just like, nah, surely not. Once again, self-doubt, surely not, you know. Nah, this is just, you know, it's just unbelievable. And then I was just like, nah, I just had this strong feeling, and I actually did a U-turn, followed him out of the car park because he left. I actually thought he had just showed up, but maybe he'd already done his shopping and he was just leaving. And then I followed him out the road. We stopped at the traffic light. So he was stopped in front of me, but I didn't recognise the ute. And I had seen it before though. I have seen that ute before. I followed him up the road. I took a photo of the back of the truck. We stopped at the stop sign, and even the stoplights, and even to this day, I'm just like, why didn't you get out? Why didn't you be that crazy lady and jump out of your ute and go up and see who was driving that vehicle? Why didn't you? Why didn't you follow your gut instinct? And I just don't know why. And I followed him up the road, and then he cut in front of a bus and disappeared down the side road, and I couldn't find him after that. Like, I went down the next road, and I text the detective in charge at that time, but I didn't ring 111. It was just self-doubt. Like, how can I say to the police, I seen Thomas, it's him, when he had a beanie and a mask on? Like, how can you say I recognised him? And yet it was him. It was him. And funnily enough, that ute was only reported stolen after I saw Thomas at the Bunnings, after I'd followed him up the road, and after I'd taken the photos of the ute.
Who reported it stolen?
The owners of the ute.
Did they know him?
Yeah.
So you believe people are helping him?
100%. 100% somebody is helping him. Somebody is supplying him, or just inadvertently leaving things in an accessible place, be it at their residence or somewhere else. He is getting information. Somebody's helping him.
You've been silent for, more than 2 years now. You're not today, so what do you want to say to them?
My babies deserve better. It's beyond time that they come home and supporting Thomas is essentially supporting child abuse, because that's what it is. There's no beating around the bush. None of this is okay. And realistically, you know what? If Marokopa wants to keep Thomas, they can keep Thomas. I just want my babies home. That's all I want. They can have him. I really don't care. I don't even care if the police get him. That's not my issue. That's not my problem. That's a them problem. My problem is that my babies are gone. That's my problem. My problem is that people are helping this child abuser get away with it. And they need to stop. Those people need to stop. They need to think seriously about it, and they need to question themselves. Why do these children deserve any less than any other child in New Zealand? What makes them different? They're not. They're just babies. They're just innocent children. And they should not be where they are now. They deserve so much more. They've got their whole lives in front of them, and it's already destroyed. Like, it's going to take them years to you know, regain any semblance of normality, regardless of how we proceed from here, because so much damage has been done, and it takes a long time to undo that damage.
But you're planning that at the moment, right?
Yes, I
You've got a
am.
plan.
This is me taking back my power. I'm going to stand and I'm going to fight. And I'm going to do it for my babies. And not just my babies, but all those other babies out there that have suffered like mine. Maybe not to this extent, but nobody should have to go through any little part of this. None of it's right.
If they by chance are watching this, Kat, talk to them. If by chance someone shows them a video.
I miss my babies so much. I just want them home. I love them. I love them. I think about them every single day. Like nearly every minute of every day. They're there in everything that I do. And it never stops. I dream about them. I still have some of their clothes. I still have presents. We still have their Christmas presents from the first year that they disappeared, and birthday presents, and I just can't get rid of it, even though they're too big for it now. Like, there's so many reminders, and you know what? I don't even know what they look like now. Like, they'll be so big. They would have changed. Like, I just love my babies. I love them so much. They're my world, they're my everything, they're my reason for being, they're my life. They are me. And I wouldn't change them for the world.